The Evil Giant Cat. In a peaceful village by the sea, the villagers lived in fear of a gigantic cat named Shadowclaw. Towering over the tallest houses, Shadowclaw prowled the streets at night, his glowing eyes striking terror into the hearts of all who saw him. Every night, Shadowclaw would knock over market stalls, tear through gardens, and frighten the livestock. The villagers tried everything to keep him away, but nothing worked. They were desperate for a solution. One day, a clever young boy named Leo decided to confront the giant cat. Armed with only his curiosity and a shiny fish he had caught that morning, Leo ventured to the hill where Shadowclaw lived. As he approached, he saw the giant cat lying down, looking sad and lonely. Leo bravely held out the fish and asked, "Why do you cause so much trouble in our village?" Shadowclaw sniffed the fish and then, to Leo's surprise, began to speak. "I am not evil by nature," he said, "but I am cursed to be this giant and to wander alone, causing chaos wherever I go." Feeling pity for the giant cat, Leo had an idea. He led Shadowclaw to the village's wise woman, who knew many ancient spells. Together, they worked to break the curse. The wise woman mixed a potion and recited an old incantation. Slowly, Shadowclaw began to shrink to the size of an ordinary cat. Freed from the curse, Shadowclaw thanked Leo and the wise woman. From that day on, he became the village's protector rather than its terror. The villagers welcomed their new, friendly feline guardian, and peace returned to the Seaside village. In the end, it was the courage of a young boy and the kindness of a once feared giant cat that brought harmony back to their home.
Once upon a time, in the verdant heart of Nigeria, there was a village called Odomola. It was a place where stories flowed like the Niger River, rich with tradition and lore. Among these tales, none was more chilling than that of Adesua, the evil hair braider. Adesua was a woman of remarkable beauty and talent. Her braiding skills were unmatched. She could weave intricate patterns and styles that left her clients in awe. People came from far and wide to have their hair braided by Adesua. But there was a dark secret hidden behind her enchanting smile and skillful hands. Long ago, Adesua had been an ordinary girl with an extraordinary gift. Her mother, a wise woman, warned her never to use her talent for vanity or greed. Adesua, however, was lured by the promises of wealth and admiration. She struck a deal with Ekwensu, the trickster spirit, to become the most famous hair braider in all the land. In exchange, she gave a part of her soul, binding herself to the spirit's dark magic. As the years passed, Adesua's fame grew, but so did her insatiable hunger for more. The braids she created were no longer just beautiful. They became vessels for Ekwensu's malevolence. Unbeknownst to her clients, each braid held a curse, slowly sapping their vitality and drawing their essence into Adesua. She remained young and beautiful, while her clients aged rapidly and fell ill. One day, a young girl named Ifeoma arrived in Odomola. She was on a journey to find her missing sister, Amara, who had mysteriously disappeared after visiting Adesua. Ifeoma was determined and fearless, with a heart as pure as a mountain spring. She sought the help of the village elder, Baba Ogunleye, who was known for his wisdom and knowledge of ancient magic. Baba Ogunleye listened to Ifeoma's story and nodded gravely. "The spirit of Ekwensu is strong in Adesua," he said, "but the bond can be broken by a heart that is pure and a soul that is selfless." With Baba Ogunleye's guidance, Ifeoma prepared for her encounter with Adesua. She wove protective charms into her hair and carried a pouch of sacred herbs. When she entered Adesua's parlor, she was met with the Braider's enchanting smile, but Ifeoma could see the shadows lurking in her eyes. "I have heard of your talents, Adesua," Ifeoma said. "I wish for my hair to be braided." Adesua welcomed her, her fingers itching to weave another cursed braid. As she worked, she felt a strange resistance. The charms in Ifeoma's hair began to glow, and the sacred herbs filled the room with a purifying scent. "What is this?" Adesua hissed, her eyes flashing with anger. Ifeoma remained calm. "I know your secret, Adesua. I know about Ekwensu." Adesua's face contorted with rage. "You dare challenge me?" Ifeoma stood up, her hair half braided. "I do not fear you. I am here to save my sister and the others you have harmed." As she spoke, the charms and herbs created a barrier, repelling Adesua's dark magic. The spirit of Ekwensu screamed in fury, trying to break free. But Ifeoma's courage and purity were stronger. With a final cry, Ekwensu's hold on Adesua shattered. Adesua collapsed, the dark magic draining from her body. Her beauty faded, revealing the withered woman she had become inside. The curses on her clients were lifted, and Amara and the others began to recover. Baba Ogunle arrived, his eyes filled with pride for Ifeoma. "You have broken the curse," he said. "Adesua's power is no more." Ifeoma embraced her sister, tears of joy streaming down her face. The village rejoiced, and Adesua, stripped of her dark powers, was banished from Odamola, left to wander and atone for her sins. From that day on, the story of Ifeoma's bravery and Adesua's fall was told as a cautionary tale, reminding all of the dangers of vanity and greed and the power of a pure heart. And in Odamola, the spirits were at peace once more, under the watchful eye of the wise elder and the brave young girl who had saved them all.
The Serengeti sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the golden savanna. The air was thick with anticipation, a stillness that whispered of ancient secrets and lurking dangers. In the heart of this wild expanse, nestled between acacia trees and rocky outcrops, lay the village of Umoja. It was a place where tradition met survival, and legends were born from the whispers of the wind. Jabari, a young warrior with eyes as sharp as an eagle's and muscles honed from years of hunting, stood at the edge of the village. He was the pride of Umoja, known not just for his strength, but for his wisdom and kindness. Tonight, however, his heart was heavy with a sense of impending doom. For days, the elders had spoken of strange occurrences: cattle disappearing, crops wilting, and an eerie silence that blanketed the night. "Jabari," called out Nia, a skilled healer and Jabari's closest friend. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed her fear. "The elders are gathering. They need you." Jabari nodded, his expression resolute. He followed Nia to the center of the village, where a fire crackled and popped, casting flickering shadows on the faces of the assembled elders. At their feet lay an ancient scroll, its edges tattered and worn with age. "Jabari," began Elder Kofi, his voice deep and resonant, "we have consulted the old texts and the signs are clear. The great serpent Nyoka has awakened." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Nyoka, the giant snake of legend, was said to be as long as 10 elephants and as thick as a baobab tree. It was a creature of nightmares, a being that brought destruction and despair wherever it slithered. Our ancestors fought Nyoka and sealed it in the depths of the earth, continued Elder Kofi. But the seal has weakened. We need a warrior brave enough to face the serpent and strong enough to protect our land. All eyes turned to Jabari. He felt the weight of their expectations, but also the fire of determination igniting within him. I will go, he declared. I will find Nyoka and end this threat. As Jabari prepared for his journey, Nia approached him, her brow furrowed with concern. Take this, she said, handing him a small pouch filled with herbs and a finely crafted dagger. The herbs will help you if you are injured, and the dagger is enchanted. It might be your only chance against Nyoka. Jabari thanked Nia, his heart swelling with gratitude. With his spear in hand and the pouch secured at his waist, he set out into the darkening savannah, guided by the pale light of the rising moon. For days, Jabari trekked across the Serengeti, facing the harsh elements and dangerous wildlife. He crossed vast plains, navigated through dense forests, and climbed treacherous mountains. Everywhere he went, he saw signs of Nyoka's presence: crushed trees, deep furrows in the earth, and the remains of unfortunate animals caught in the serpent's path. Finally, Jabari reached the entrance to a vast cave, hidden behind a waterfall that roared with the ferocity of a lion. The air here was cold and damp, and the ground was littered with bones. He took a deep breath and stepped inside, his senses alert and his grip tight on his spear. The cave was a labyrinth of tunnels, twisting and turning in all directions. Jabari moved cautiously, his footsteps echoing softly off the walls. After what felt like hours, he entered a massive chamber. In the center lay Nyoka, coiled in a mound of shimmering scales, its eyes glowing like molten gold. Nyoka's head lifted, and the serpent hissed, a sound that sent chills down Jabari's spine. "Who dares to enter my domain?" it demanded, its voice a deep, rumbling growl. "I am Jabari of Umoja," he replied, standing tall despite the fear that gnawed at his insides. "I have come to end your reign of terror." Nyoka laughed, a sinister sound that echoed through the chamber. "Foolish human. Many have tried, and many have perished. What makes you think you will succeed?" Jabari took a step forward, his spear poised to strike. "I have something they did not," he said, thinking of Nia's enchanted dagger and the strength of his ancestors that flowed through his veins. With a swift motion, Nyoka lunged at Jabari, its jaws wide open. Jabari leaped to the side, narrowly avoiding the serpent's fangs. He struck out with his spear, but Nyoka's scales were impenetrable. The serpent twisted and turned, its massive body crashing against the walls of the cave. Jabari fought with everything he had, using his agility and speed to dodge Nyoka's attacks. But he knew he couldn't keep this up forever. He needed to find a way to use the enchanted dagger. As he ducked under another swipe of Nyoka's tail, he remembered the pouch of herbs Nia had given him. An idea began to form in his mind. Taking a calculated risk, Jabari threw a handful of the herbs into Nyoka's face. The serpent recoiled, hissing in pain and fury as the herbs burned its eyes. Seizing the moment, Jabari drew the dagger and plunged it into Nyoka's side, aiming for a gap in the scales. Nyoka let out a deafening roar, thrashing wildly as the magic of the dagger took hold. Jabari was thrown across the chamber, hitting the ground hard. He struggled to his feet, his vision blurry, but he could see Nyoka writhing in agony. "Your time is over," Jabari shouted, his voice echoing through the cave. With a final desperate effort, he drove the dagger deeper into Nyoka's flesh. The serpent's movements slowed, and with one last shudder, it collapsed to the ground. Jabari stood over the fallen beast, his chest heaving with exhaustion. He had done it. Nyoka was defeated. The journey back to Umoja was long and grueling, but Jabari's heart was light. He had faced the serpent and emerged victorious. When he finally reached the village, the people greeted him with cheers and tears of joy. Nia ran to him, embracing him tightly. "You did it," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "You saved us." Jabari smiled, looking around at the faces of his friends and family. "We saved each other," he said. "Together, we are stronger than any serpent." From that day on, Jabari was celebrated as a hero, but he remained humble, always remembering the strength and support of his community. The legend of Jabari and Nyoka was told and retold, a tale of courage, friendship, and the power of unity that would inspire generations to come. And as the sun set over the Serengeti, painting the sky with hues of orange and gold, the people of Umoja knew that they could face any challenge, no matter how great, as long as they stood together.